All right, I'm having another look at this exhaust pipe here. I think I need to curve it away from the cylinder a little bit. I'm going to redo part of it. I might redo the entire thing, but I definitely want to redo this elbow here because it actually sticks out just a little further than I want it to. I got to fix this weird gap and curve here. First thing I got to do is measure how long this has to be. 13 inches, about an inch and a half from there. Hose clamp, make it easier. Now, one mistake I made last time I was doing all this is I was zeroing out the bottom of my cuts on the very bottom of the pipe, which I should have actually been up about 1/8 of an inch. And that's why I get the gap at the bottom of my cuts and have a million welds to fill in. This is still a bit close to the engine in here, so I'm going to trim off the end of this about to there somewhere, take a 1/2 inch off and make this curve start closer to here. Okay, that looks a little better. So now I need to put a 45 in here. Okay. Okay, so my pipe is 1 3/4. I need to figure out how much material I need to remove to make a 90 and then divide that by 2. I take this, set it to 90 degrees and measure diagonally from 1 3/4 to 1 3/4, 2 7/8. So that is 1 9/16. If I take 1 9/16 out of the pipe, it should end up in a 45-degree angle. So I got to mark this other pipe that it slides into so I can line those up again. The more important thing with this is the angle that that 45 goes at. There. Okay, so this line is the outside, the very beginning of our bend. Okay, now we'll mark this out and cut it. It makes sense of all that. Okay, so now we're going to put it back in, line it up with our mark in there. And now we're going to fold this and see where we end up. We got to trim this out actually. Okay, that's looking pretty good. That is about a 45, so that's exactly what we wanted. Get more clearance in here. I'm going to cut this pipe and flatten this side of it. About roughly there. Plenty of clearance now. Right, I think I might have gone too far with the dent. From this angle, okay, so this has the 45 directly toward the solenoid and uphill like this at the same time. I'm going to try and visualize. I'm going to try to work this up a bit to try and match this pipe. Just going to put that right in there. And see, you can see it moving a bit. Bit of a gap on the front here. That looks about as best as we're gonna get it. This is pretty rough, but not much I can do about that. I don't have torches, so another 3/4 inch mark. I was wrong. We gotta go 3/8 because the total gap is 3/4. We're just doing half of that gap. Not quite 45. Okay, so you want the right angle. You bend this till it's lined up, and this gap here, that's how much you take off the top. So we need an 1/8 inch off the bottom, and then up here, if you look from up top here, this angle's wrong too. Okay, I don't want it coming back like this. I want it straight in line like this. Okay, it's looking better. Still got to take the top out a bit. Well, quite a ways actually. Maybe my measurement was off with that, because that's quite a bit. Yeah. How is that going to work, I wonder? Yeah, I should have cut out of the top. Damn it. I did, didn't I? Yes, I did. I did cut out of the top. Why is the angle so messed up now? Okay, I got to take a 3/8 of an inch again. I'm doing something wrong. Now, you know what I need to do? I got to be between these two marks. I'm going to take 3/8 out here. This is complicated stuff. Frick. I'm going to take 3/8 out here. Between these two marks. Look at that. Perfect. It only took 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I could go in between those marks again. And this is because it's not only moving up, it's moving in too. So you can't just 45 it this direction or this direction like that. You have to basically go right between the two of the marks and 45 it like that. So I need to take off another like 1/8 of an inch right here. So we're going to do that and fit it again. Hopefully this will be the last fit. If I trial and error all this stuff and film it, then everyone else won't have to as much. That looks pretty darn good here. How does this one look? Also looks pretty good. Free hands sometimes. I'm just going to clamp this. So here's the difference between those two. This is basically the difference I was able to make with clearance there. So I think that's going to work much better. So right now I got like 1/2 inch clearance around everything, which should be lots because that's more than the factory pipes had on the oil lines and a lot of the other stuff, the wiring, like. How many times you can bend those before they break. No, that's not good. Screwed myself there. Another vise here. Sometimes you do something so much that you get really bad at it. Mastercraft. Don't buy a Mastercraft vise like this. They're garbage. It's really screwed up here too. I think I freaking cut into that wrong. Jeez. Really screwed something up there. Okay, whatever. I'm going to cut that one at a 45. Screw it. It's got to start lower. Ruler. So, 1.5 inches with an 1/8 between each. 1.5 inches and 3 equal pieces of 1/2 inch. Just so it's less confusing. 1/2 inch center. Half inch center. Don't look equal. I'm gonna double check. If I screw this up, it will be angled. Let's see, totally screwed it up. This is the center. You go from your top line, from the inside of your top line, and you line it up with your center, and you just move it a little bit. Right? So I'll show you here. Go with the top of the line over here on this side. Okay. Like that. And then I line it up with the far edge of the center line. Okay, not to this side, but to this side. And then when you put your mark in, it'll zero out right about here instead of at the bottom. And that way you don't have that gap in there. That's what I should have done at the beginning. Definitely have some gaps to fill, I think. There. It looks pretty close. Let's go try it out, see. A little more. I think we got it. This angle up here is a bit toward the oil pan too much, so I'm just going to tweak this a little, try and match that angle up, and then we will just tack weld that. Okay, this is the old pipe, this is the new one, and we're just going to figure out where. I got about a 1/2 inch space back here, which is about what I want, and then we'll cut it and splice it, I guess, here somewhere. I could actually measure this all, but I don't really need to. Hopefully, we'll find out. Find out if I needed to. We'll cut both of these off. Now we're going to line them up here. See how they fit. Fits okay. I know what's going on here. Okay, right about there. Anyway, let's clamp these together and tack weld them. Look, we can finally use these vice grips. It looks pretty good. That's pretty darn close. I think that's going to be pretty close enough. Just looking at this pipe here, I'm not super happy with it. It's kind of flattened off on the back edge here and just doesn't look as good as I think it could. So I'm going to try and redo just that little piece there. First thing I got to do is measure the old piece. 3 1/4. Inside is 2 1/2. So maybe use this as a template. Maybe. Not sure if I need to take that much out of it. That's one side roughed in. Okay. There we go.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah. Use one of these useless things. makes it fit a bit tighter. I discovered one of my hammers fits perfectly inside this tubing. If you find you have to pay somebody more money than another guy, it's because usually the guy that charges more money does it right the first time. Here's what it looks like from the side and up top. You know what I think I need to do? I think I need to make this job much more difficult and take out some of this notch. Okay, I think that looks a lot better. It will anyway once I clean up all the welds and get it painted and finished and all that. So it's definitely going to flow much better. Cat pipe is fit on there. It's still hot. So here's the test. If it clears enough, I'm going to sit on here, see if my leg touches it or can feel the heat from it. Doesn't feel like it. I think that's going to work fairly well. Pipe's pretty darn well out of the way, so I think that's going to work pretty good. And it looks a lot better than having that flattened, squished pipe on there. And there's still probably a ½ inch almost of clearance around the top of the solenoid. So I think that should be plenty. And there's quite a large gap underneath too. Probably 5/8 of an inch or close to 3/4 of an inch. So that'll allow air to flow through around the solenoid as well. So I think that's going to work.